This game will have the Commodores of Gulf Coast State College taking on the Patriots of the College of Central Florida. And now for our starting lineups.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Day 3 of action here from Raider Arena in Niceville, Florida, on the campus of Northwest Florida State College. We get set for semifinal number 1 between the men. We welcome you into Emerald Coast TV. I'm Jake Mitchell, joined by Mike Rideout, as we get set for a matchup of College of Central Florida and the Commodores of Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast defeated the number 1 team in the country, Florida Southwestern, to get here. College of Central Florida opened this tournament with an overtime victory, and now once again semifinal number 1 set to go. Mike, opening thoughts on what should be an extremely entertaining semifinal matchup here at Raider Arena.
I think the one thing that was impressive about the win for Gulf Coast yesterday is the fact that they did it without their head coach. Philip Gaffney is not here. He is on leave after suffering a heart attack. Scott Jackson, his assistant, has filled in. Coach Gaffney has been out since January the 18th, and that's a big win. You knock off a team that only lost one time all season long, the number 1 team in the country, and Central Florida, they rally to win. They get it to overtime, and a big game yesterday from Bryce Beamer before fouling out. He came in averaging 7.7 points a game. He scored 28, got that average up to 8.4 now.
Absolutely, and the other key Patriot in this one going to be Waylon Napper. He was, along with Beamer, kind of the driving force in that victory.
He was, because he scored 25 of his 29 points in the second half. So a big win for Central Florida, which is playing in its final season of basketball. We've mentioned this throughout due to budget cuts. Central Florida is getting rid of the athletic programs for volleyball and men's and women's basketball. And yesterday, Central Florida got 4 players in double figures, but Napper, the leader, with 29 points. It's a team that shot 51.3% from the floor. Beamer shot 10 of 15 himself, and Gulf Coast on the other side shoots 53% in the second half. They also had 4 players in double figures. Their bench was a big spark for them, as their bench outscored Florida Southwestern State College yesterday 31-15.
And coming off of a win against the number 1 team in the country, you certainly hope that you're riding momentum as opposed to an emotional letdown here. But postseason basketball, the likelihood of an emotional letdown fairly low for the Commodores. It's going to be an entertaining matchup here. Once again, the Patriots and the Commodores set to do battle. Semifinal number 1 here.
It's March Madness. You know, this is what it's all about, Jake. And this is something that we've also mentioned throughout the broadcast. There could be as many as 2 at-large teams. No more than 3 teams would be selected for Kansas from this region. But because we have 3 nationally ranked teams coming in, certainly possible. We know Florida Southwestern is going to get one of the bids. Central Florida, though, would like to win the tournament now that Florida Southwestern State College is out of the way. But Central Florida, because they are nationally ranked, if they were to lose, same with Tallahassee, you know, in the next game, they're ranked 10th nationally. You know, they also could get a bid. So for the Commodores, they've got to win. They know that the only way they're going to get there, most likely, is to win this state tournament.
Starting 5 for the Patriots, it's numbers 1 through 5. Angelo Johnson, Waylon Napper, Bryce Beamer, Jaron Williams, who they call Rondo, and Pape Dieng. Rounding things out, it's Jacoby Owens, Devonta Cook, Derek Harden, along with Cam Holden and Trayvon Mayo, that make up the Commodore 5, as the Commodores control the tip and now open this game offensively. Under 10 on the shot clock. Cook, no good on that 3. But how about Cam Holden there to clean up?
Cam Holden averages 20.6 points a game. The sophomore against the Commodores on the board first.
Cross court to Beamer. Beamer had a big game on Wednesday. That overtime victory, did foul out, but before fouling out, hit several threes and far eclipsed his season average in points. Johnson takes. Shot clock winding down. Williams not able to get it to go, and an offensive foul.
That'll be on Williams, his first, team first. Williams averages 11.5 a game. He goes by Rondo. He's out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, one of the leaders on the team. Starter for every conference game this season. He is committed to play at UT Martin in the OVC Conference. And on display today, girls and guys, will be a lot of players getting an opportunity to play at the next level.
A violation there. Ball will go back to the Patriots. Yeah, this is a great tournament and a great 4 days of action, not only in terms of basketball at this level, but also several names that are going to have an impact on the Division I level here in the coming season. Williams gives back to Johnson.
Yesterday, the Commodores forced 18 turnovers, and they took care of the basketball. Only 11 turnovers, including 12 assists.
Napper can't get that one to go. Cook brings in the rebound, but then he's fouled by either Beamer or Napper. Appeared to be Beamer.
Yeah, Beamer put his hand in the air. Team second.
Two 2-0 lead for the Commodores in the early stages of this one. Inside to Harden. Outside to Mayo now. Back to Harden. Harden loses it. Tried to call a timeout, but part of the body out of bounds there.
One thing that I did not note yesterday, not only did Gulf Coast have to play without their head coach, Philip Gaffney, but also they are without sophomore KK Godwin. They lost him to injury and suspension for the majority of league play. He averaged 25 minutes a game, averaged 13.1 points per game. So you lose your head coach, you lose Godwin, but yet they were able to piece it together, an 8-4 mark in the Panhandle Conference. 21-7 overall, now 22-7. And the good news is, if this team does find a way to get to Kansas, I spoke with Coach Gaffney about this, he would be able to come back. If not, he won't be back until next season. But certainly, I know the team, they're playing for him right now. They would love to have him, and especially a trip to Kansas.
They call it the Road to Hutch. That'll be our first two games today. The men's tournament taking place in Kansas, and the Road to Lubbock, the label for our final two games tonight. It'll be women's action, looking to earn a spot in that tournament out in Lubbock, Texas. It'll be Owens that inbounds here. Still a 2-0 lead early for the Commodores, tipped by Napper, but Holden hangs on to it. Mayo drives, pulls up at the elbow, can't get it to go. Finally gathered by Williams. Screen from Dieng, kick outside to Beamer. Bryce Beamer picks up right where he left off. Screen from Dieng.
He sure does.
Kick outside to
what
Beamer.
A game yesterday. Not
Bryce
only 10
Beamer
of 15
picks
for the
up
floor, but he was also 6 of 9 behind the arc for his 28 points.
Owens pulls up elbow, long, brought in by Beamer. Driving all the way as Johnson lobs up to Dieng, and Dieng puts it off the glass and in.
Pape Dieng averages 5 points a game. He's from Africa and Inspire Preparatory. He emerged as a starter for the Patriots.
Cook, left wing, he's long. Out of bounds, ball will stay with the Commodores.
Williams didn't like that call. He was right there, saw the action, and official saw it the other way.
Grant Howard checking in for the Commodores. It'll be Jacoby Owens who takes a seat.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Jake, you've got Tim Ryan in his 16th season as the head coach of the Central Florida Patriots. A little bit more about Tim Ryan, as he was able to direct the Patriots to the state title in 2013, and they went on to win the national title that year. He was the NJCAA National Coach of the Year in 2013, inducted into the 2014 FCSAA Men's Coaches Basketball Hall of Fame.
Patriots wanted a call there. Holden kicks out Marzette in this one now. 5 on the shot clock. Marzette can't get it to go off the glass, fell hard, and Beamer gathers the board. How about that? Kick up to Napper, and then he just hands it off to Jaron Williams for the layup.
Yeah, nice find there by the freshman Napper.
Holden pulls up from deep. He drains it. Cam Holden.
He's got all 5 points for the Commodores.
5-second violation. Angelo Johnson after the pressure from the Commodores defensively, and now a chance to bring this one level. Only under 4 minutes gone.
I noted earlier that they forced 18 turnovers. They scored 26 points off of those 18 turnovers against the #1 team in the country. They really get after you on defense.
Gordon out to Marzette. Now it's Grant Howard. Holden inside. Gordon slams it home, and they do bring this level.
Maurice Gordon averaging 10.4 points a game. He was the guy that helped put them in the state tournament as he hit a half-court buzzer beater to knock off Tallahassee 108-107 in triple overtime in the regular season finale.
We'll see that Tallahassee team in our second game today. 3 p.m. tip is, whoa, some pushing there. Williams. It was Holden that was involved there. Jaron Williams with the...
Officials doing a good job of separating them, send the teams to their benches.
Conference between the officials, and, you know, we'll say didn't see an extension of the arms necessarily from Williams there, and obviously that would have been an immediate tech if you would have seen the extension, but that was just kind of a tie up there, so we'll see what the decision is from the officials. They'll go against Williams.
You want to see that last replay?
Yeah.
We'll take a look at the replay, Jake.
Yeah, here it is. Williams goes to the ground. He's Holden trying to tie up with him, and I guess a slight bump. And yeah, just a kind of a shoulder nudge from Williams there. Holden definitely sold it.
Yeah, he did.
And our first sense of chippiness really in the last few days, and you know, I'll say I think officials did a fantastic job there. And you know, you often hear criticism for officials, but I'll say that so far this weekend I thought the officiating has been very efficient. The games have been played at a very nice pace.
Absolutely. The official is going to walk over and take a look at it on the monitor.
Last play after the timeout was called. So after the timeout was called, what happened? Yeah, we were just watching that one.
So as they get that settled, taking a look at both these teams in the last time that they won a state tournament. I mentioned Central Florida winning the state tournament in 2013. That propelled them on to the national title. And then also Gulf Coast. It's been a long time since they won a state title. Have to go all the way back to 1972. Big win against the #1 team in the country yesterday, 75-68. Look at Tim Ryan, as I mentioned, National Coach of the Year in 2013. Last season, Ryan led the Patriots to a top 20 ranking 6 of 11 weeks, including 2 top 15 rankings. Central Florida finished runner-up in the Mid-Florida Conference, 25-7 overall, 9-3 in league play. This year, they're 25-6. They also went 9-3 and tied with Eastern Florida State in the Mid-Florida Conference, but won the title. Officials still taking a look at the monitor to get things situated here, and they're going to call over the other official to offer up some explain. Well, they're going to let him look at it too. So they are apparently going to call a technical foul because of the push.
All right, so officials still discussing. It sounded to us like dead ball technical on 4 and White, so will be a technical on Williams. So as we have the officials giving explanations, we listen in there for a second over here at our broadcast position. Officials took a look, and it'll be a technical assessed on number 4 in White. That's Jaron Williams, the man they call Rondo. So as it gets sorted out, we welcome you back in here to Raider Arena in the campus of Niceville, or campus of Northwest Florida State College here in Niceville, Florida. I'm Jake Mitchell. He's Mike Rideout. We welcome you into our Emerald Coast TV broadcast.
Tim Ryan getting an explanation right now from the officials.
So it looks like it'll be Grant Howard that shoots. The technical shot's a tie ball game here in the early goings, and a technical foul assessed to Williams. A reminder, you can find Emerald Coast TV and our broadcasts on Emerald Coast TV, the YouTube page, obviously the website, emeraldcoasttv.com, and also the Facebook page if you give a search to Emerald Coast TV, the Twitter account.
Grant Howard yesterday 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He shoots 67.9%. And that's also the second foul on Williams.
So not only the first technical, but also the second foul, and a second technical would obviously result in ejection. 75% from the field early on are the Patriots, so it's been an efficient start for the College of Central Florida, as you mentioned, led by Tim Ryan.
3 different players have scored. Beamer with 3, Williams with 2, and Dieng with 2. Gulf Coast has 5 from Holden, 2 from Gordon, and 2 on the free throws from Howard.
Holden left wing. He was involved in that dust up with Williams. Marzette left wing now. Back to Holden. Holden cross court to Howard. He's going to pull up from the corner. And Grant Howard.
That's 5 points off the bench for Howard. Howard yesterday scored 10 off the bench. As a team yesterday, Gulf Coast shot 43.8% behind the arc. They were 7 of 16 from long distance.
10 on the shot clock, and there's a turnover. Angelo Johnson, some miscommunication. He's going immediately over to Tim Ryan and saying, what's going on out here? He and Beamer now consulting. Owens pushing it up quickly, sees the discussion from the Patriots and senses an opening. Grant Howard now back to Owens, top of the key. Yeah, a half court set. Holden left wing, he's gonna pull up from deep. How about Cam Holden? And both teams sharp shooting from deep early on.
That's the second 3 from Holden. He was 1 of 5 behind the arc yesterday. Did finish with 15 points, but he's off to a good start with 8 first half points.
Angelo Johnson looks to counter. He's just shy on that. How about, there's Latrell Jones checking into this one and hauling in that board. He now shoots a turnaround that can't go. It'll be Commodore basketball. And so now a timeout, and momentum is staunchly in the corner of the Gulf Coast Commodores. They've got a big contingent here. We've mentioned they're a Panhandle Conference team, so they're close geographically, and they're used to playing on this court.
Yeah, and again, the technical was big because you get the 2 free throws by Howard, then you get the basketball. Howard drains a 3. So now it's what was a 7-all game is now an 8-0 run, a 15-7 lead for the Commodores. And, you know, as we stated yesterday, the longer you are in the game, the more confident you're going to feel that you can win the game. And that's why they were able to knock off the #1 team in the country yesterday, and now they're leading the number 18 team in the country.
Absolutely. They've doubled up the Patriots here early on, but still a long way to go in this one.
Taking a look at some of the numbers, Gulf Coast State 5 for 10 from the floor, 50%, 3 of 5 behind the arc, good for 60%. And Central Florida, though, also 50%, but they've taken 4 less shots. Rebounds are even at 4 apiece, but remember, I mentioned at the start of the broadcast that the bench came up big yesterday for Gulf Coast State. They got 31 points from their bench, and they've already outscored Central Florida 7-0 in bench points. And look at the turnovers too, Jake. For Central Florida, or for Gulf Coast State, already 12 points off of turnovers. That's not right, is it? They've got 3 turnovers. Yeah, because the long ball, I guess.
Indeed, and a goose egg for the Patriots in that category.
Boy, that's such a big advantage already. 12-0 in points off of turnovers.
Yeah, you look at that number and we both hesitate a little bit and go, wait a second, that is indeed. Every basket they've had has been off of a turnover.
Yeah.
Though. Aside from the foul shots, really. Howard kicks outside. Ooh, he's bumped by Waylon Napper.
That'll be his first. He bit on the fake.
Yeah, Jimmy Pierre-Louis drawing that whistle.
Napper again with a big game, 29 points in the win against Broward College. Seahawks played them tough. They almost pulled the upset. They had a chance to win in regulation. But then Central Florida outscored Broward College 16-13 in overtime to win it.
Feels like we've gone so long since then as there's a whistle. Napper ended up on the ground and Yang ended up with the ball. But yeah, it feels like an eternity ago that we saw College of Central Florida and Broward. We've had 4 games, Thursday 4 games. There's a whistle on Dieng. But 4 games yesterday, and now we open day 3 of this one. It's been basketball completely wall to wall here at Raider Arena. And if you're like me or if you're like Mike here, March Madness is the time where you want nothing but basketball.
Yeah.
It's been a blast this weekend. We've got semifinal games all day today and championship games tomorrow night.
You know, and the funny thing about it is we'll do basketball all day and then I'll go watch a basketball game.
Yeah. No, that's our Saturday is going to be, at least mine will be hanging out watching one ball all day. Florida, Kentucky, yeah. And then coming in here for championship games again tomorrow evening.
By the way, they called it on Beamer, so that's his second.
How about that from Grant Howard? Indeed,
yeah, that second 3.
Beamer foul, a notable one here early on. He fouled out in game 1.
He did, yeah. Beamer's got 2 and Williams has 2 for Central Florida. But already 4 threes for the Commodores, who are shooting 66.7% behind the arc.
Big substitutions, 3. Mayo back into this game. Devonta Cook back into this game for the Commodores. And Dion Butler, he's that tall number 33 in the middle. He and Dieng are matched up and they'll likely battle inside. Commodores wanted to travel, but looks like it's going to be a call against, I believe that was Pierre-Louis.
Yeah, Jamie Pierre-Louis will pick up his first. The previous foul was on Grant Howard, his first. Second team foul against Gulf Coast.
20 on the shot clock as they look to inbound. Johnson doing those duties. Napper Guarded by Pierre-Louis. Napper far too strong on that one. Dieng tried to put it back, and he landed hard. Dion Butler is back on the other end of the court as Grant Howard goes all the way. Dion Butler looks like a...
Well, let's see what they do here, because Howard just picked up his second foul, and I think they're going to pull him off the floor with 12:24 to play. Yeah, he'll head to the bench here in the first half. And Kalen Marzette will check in. Now, Marzette played well off the bench yesterday. Butler had 7, including 5 in the first half.
And Butler went down, if you saw at the back end of that play, but he got up after a couple of seconds on the ground and now is moving well. As another whistle there. That one goes against Marzette.
As a team, Central Florida shoots 70.9% from the free throw line. Latrell Jones, 71.6. He averages 12.8 a game.
Jones hits that one. Holden checking in for the Commodores. Ortiz checking in for the Patriots. Bryce Beamer going to take a seat for the College of Central Florida, and Butler will get a breather.
Jones hails from Louisiana, first team Mid-Florida, all Mid-Florida Conference selection. Jones yesterday scored 6.
So the Commodores have retained that lead of twice what the Patriots have. They've doubled them up early. Cook working on Napper. Oh, that one was in between Marzette and Mayo gathered it and then lost it. Pass up to Ortiz, not able to get it to go. How about Napper coming in from behind and putting that one in?
That's the first points of the game for Napper, who comes into the tournament averaging 15.8 points per game. Player of the year in the Mid-Florida Conference. And he had such a big game in the second half yesterday with 25 of his 29.
Maurice Gordon and Jacoby Owens checking in, taking the place of Pierre-Louis and Trayvon Mayo. Also mentioned David Anakanye in the game. He's defending Holden, and he commits the foul. Holden with a chance at three-point play.
Holden averages 20.6 points per game. Versatile 6'5" forward.
Misses on that extra attempt, so Jones and the Patriots looking to counter. On a Kanye screen. Whistle against Maurice Gordon. A lot of fouls early on. Commodores in the bonus with over 11 minutes still remaining in this half. Dylan Napper splits the defense, gives to Anakanye, but the defensive play from Cam Holden. Jacoby Owens completes the transition opportunity.
That leads to points at the other end after the block. First points of the game for the sophomore, who came into the tournament averaging 13.8 a game. Holden had 15, excuse me, Owens rather had 11 yesterday.
Whistle against Jacoby Owens there. So that is the 6th foul against the Commodores. Mentioned 7 already whistled against the Patriots. And I mean, these are all fouls that are being committed. Officials are calling what they see. It's just been a chippy one. We had the technical earlier as Johnson was way off on that 3. Had the technical earlier, and it's been a chippy one early on. Gordon kicks to Marzette, who's wide open in the corner. Marzette, though, he's wide. Kick up to Latrell Jones, who's going to pull it out. Ortiz in the corner. Bobbled it for a second, now throws it off of Holden, but doesn't go out of bounds. Instead, it's Devonta Cook, and now an advantage. Marzette, oh, the block from behind. Latrell Jones up to Napper. Napper looking, Latrell Jones backside. He'll shoot that one from the wing. He's short, brought in by Holden, and the Commodores will slow things down after a back and forth sequence.
Both teams really trying to get up and down here, but Commodores deciding to use a little patience.
Owens right wing looked like it may have been tipped. Latrell Jones certainly got a hand in the face for sure. Good defense from Jones. That one batted away by Cook. Ball will remain with the Patriots. So pace in this one picking up in the last minute or so.
Commodores have outscored the Patriots 7-4 since we had our break when it was 15-7 after the technical foul and then the big three by Howard to go on an 8-0 run.
Ortiz over to Anakanye. Johnson off the Anakanye screen, and he's bumped there by, believed to be Devonta Cook.
AJ, the captain of this team, 78.8% from the free throw line. He has started in every game this year for the Patriots. First team all Mid-Florida Conference selection.
We have a full day of basketball today, and to stay updated on everything regarding this tournament, both the road to Hutch and the road to Lubbock, follow Region 8 Hoops at Region 8 Hoops on Twitter. It's the Roman numeral at Region VIII Hoops. Highlights, video of teams post-win in the locker room, slapping the logo on the bracket, and more. Again, at Region 8 Hoops on Twitter.
First points for AJ. He scored 17 yesterday, had 6 assists, but also had 6 turnovers. Central Florida with 24 turnovers yesterday, but they've done a good job in the first half of taking care of the basketball. 4 turnovers here in the first half. Rebounds even at 9 apiece.
Look at the Commodore bench and the Patriot benches as we now under 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Both teams in the bonus. A lot of foul shots likely to come in the remainder of this first half. There's a look at
Central Florida.
The College of Central Florida women here supporting their men, and obviously we've got a lot of basketball upcoming. It'll be College of Central Florida against Northwest Florida State College, and Miami-Dade and Gulf Coast as well.
And Central,
and the women.
Excuse me, Jake, Central Florida and Gulf Coast are the only 2 programs to have both their men's and women's teams in the semifinals. Central Florida women yesterday beating Palm Beach 73-60. They're looking for their first state title since 1992, but they've got to play the Raiders, the number 5 nationally ranked Northwest Florida State College team tonight. They'll have their hands full for sure.
Now back underway here, Commodores and Patriots. Chance to reach the Region 8 state final. Lock up a spot in Hutchinson, Kansas, that is. That national tournament takes place as Cook drives, Cook spins, gives to Holden. Holden is, whistle for the travel on Holden.
Must have shuffled his feet. There was a lot of traffic underneath.
Inbound Napper. Had to go deep, did Johnson, but now advantage. But Anakanye, what should have been a very easy possession, he travels. And no basket for the Patriots.
I think that was the right call. Now, what's this discussion about? Official's going to approach the scorer's table.
So they converse there in front of scores. PA announcer Jeff McDonald, our buddy, and see Wes over there, who's in charge of all things media here at Northwest Florida State, and several others along press row as we look, and officials approaching our table. So I'll take a look. 8:59 remaining in this first period. 22-13 our score. Commodores leading the Pats.
Okay, so they're going to look at what happened after the travel. RJ Murdoch doing a great job. Our producer also in charge of running the instant replay for the officials.
So they take a look here, and
you're a little closer to the monitor. Can you see anything?
Nothing so far, and I'll listen in and see what we can't gather.
Again, a reminder coming up next. Number 10 team in the country, Tallahassee, taking on Eastern Florida State. Tallahassee defeated State College of Florida yesterday, 67-59. Eastern Florida State eliminated Indian River, 68-56. We'll have a new champion on the men's side. Northwest Florida State College, the two-time defending champions. They've won 4 of the last 5. They did not qualify for this year's state tournament. So a new champion on the men's side. We could have a repeat winner on the women's side. In fact, Gulf Coast, the defending national champions, playing in the semifinals today against Miami-Dade.
So the conclusion on that review was the officials looking at each other, shaking their heads and saying, no, nothing.
Okay.
So nothing from that one. In the direct words of the officials, Cook inside to Holden. A couple of replays here early on. This has definitely been the game. There's a double dribble by Holden. This has definitely been the game with the most stoppages in terms of having to look at, some chippy interactions and a lot of fouls early on, but haven't really been any egregious calls from the officials. Just been that kind of basketball game this afternoon, but still a fantastic one. It's got an edge to it as Napper off the Anna Kanye screen, stolen by Owens. Fast break opportunity for the Commodores. Takes all the way, and Cam Holden with the putback.
Well, they had 2 players get up there.
Yeah, it was a couple of Commodores that wanted it. Holden, though, and there's a whistle. The momentum is right back on the side of the Gulf Coast State Commodores.
Actually, that scoreboard gave it to Mayo, but Holden was right there too. We'll say unofficially for now, Mayo, until we look at the box score, because they both got up.
Holden off the backboard of that floater. 26-13 the lead for the Commodores. Talked pregame, they knocked off the #1 team in the nation on Wednesday, and there has been no emotional letdown whatsoever with this Commodore team. Ortiz driving, kicking, and lost by Williams. Ball once again in the possession of Gulf Coast.
And they actually trailed that game at the half, 29-26. But got it done in the second half thanks to some hot shooting, 17 of 32 from the floor, including 6 of 10 from behind the arc. Only turned the ball over 11 times. Their bench came up big with 31 points, outscored the Buccaneers 31-15 off the bench.
I don't know about that. Mayo almost lost it. He was Had his foot right there on the half-court line, but Jacoby Owens drains that. A chance for an and one.
That's the 4th point for Owens, who scored 11 yesterday.
Commodores in control with 7:15 remaining in this first half.
And that's also the 2nd foul on Angelo Johnson.
Foul trouble will definitely be a storyline in this second half and down the stretch late. Both teams were in the bonus with over 10 to go in the first half, so definitely fouls to go around. Beamer gets it into Johnson. Johnson rushing up the court. Now inside to Dieng. How about the defense there from Harden? Back over to Owens from the right wing. Able to get it to go. Harden gathers the board, kicks to Gordon. So Harden with a couple of nice plays here to continue the momentum for the Commodores. Gordon loses it though. It's brought in by Napper. Beamer, no good. Fighting for that board was Owens, Gordon, and Dieng.
I think it's going to go on Gordon. That'll be his 2nd.
Indeed. Kalen Marzette checking in, believe he'll take
So
Gordon. That's his 2nd.
Excuse me, Jake. Gordon and Howard with 2 fouls apiece for the Commodores, while Johnson, Beamer, and Williams all have 2 fouls apiece for the Patriots.
So 6:39 remaining, a 15-point lead, and we'll update you real quick on what our schedule looks like this afternoon. This is semifinal number 1 between the College of Central Florida and Gulf Coast. This at 1 p.m. tip. It'll be a 3 p.m. tip between Tallahassee and Eastern Florida. Eastern Florida won fairly handily against Indian River. I'm really interested in that Tallahassee-Eastern Florida matchup here coming up at 3 p.m.
Yeah, 68-56 was the final score, as Eastern Florida State was, the Mid-Florida Conference runner-up behind this Central Florida team. Won their 22nd game of the year. Good season for Indian River, which was the Southern Conference champion, went 11-1 in league play. Seemed like we had a lot of conference runner-up teams that advanced, on both the men's and the women's side.
Yeah, it just speaks to how deep this bracket is. A look there, you see Jeremy Schulman. His team advanced yesterday. His team will play in this second game. Eastern Florida, he leads. And our evening session tonight, it'll be women's basketball. Miami-Dade and Gulf Coast at 6 p.m. Rooney Scoville looking to lead the Commodore women. Hopefully they, at least if you're a Commodore supporter, you hope that they get off to a similar start to what the Commodores are doing now. And then the nightcap, the Northwest Florida State Raiders, who host this tournament, will take on the College of Central Florida.
Taking a look at some of the numbers early, Central Florida struggling 4 of 14. That's 28.6% from the floor, 1 of 6 behind the arc. Gulf Coast State has taken 8 more shots, and they've made 7 more. They're actually shooting 50% from the floor.
Dieng short, and the Commodores will push it up, led by Marzette. Pierre-Louis working on Johnson, gives over to Mayo. Mayo loses it, regathers it. Inside Harden, lays it in, but an offensive foul, so the basket won't count. Oh, Bryce Beamer getting in on that one and drawing the whistle.
Cam Holden had gotten a breather. He's back on the floor. He's the high point man right now, unofficially with 12 points.
Beamer doing the inbound duties after drawing that charging foul.
I think the ball must have gotten deflected.
Pressure from the Commodores. Gordon on Johnson. Johnson beats him down the court, though, and kicks over to Jaron Williams, who's going to pull up from the right wing. Long on that. Dieng not able to get it in. Gordon saves it, and Dieng now collects. Johnson the extra pass to Williams. Williams drives, kicks back to Johnson. 6-minute mark here. Under 10 on the shot clock. Napper can't get it to go, and the Dieng put back is no good. How about there? Angelo Johnson regathering the clutter and then losing it himself. Beamer in the corner. He drives baseline. Bryce Beamer takes it all the way, but a travel call, so nothing comes out of that possession for the Patriots.
Yeah, their 9th turnover of this first half. They're struggling from the floor shooting, and the turnovers are limiting their offensive possessions.
A 15-point lead for these Commodores. There's Pierre-Louis, who gives over to Gordon in the corner. He's working on Beamer. Outside, a whistle against Bryce Beamer.
It's also hard to get into any kind of a rhythm when you're turning the basketball over.
So
that's number 3 on Beamer.
He fouled out yesterday.
He did, yeah. It was late. It was late in regulation when he fouled out, but he did foul out with just 44 seconds to play.
Gordon with that high arcing free throw shot that gets nothing but net. 29-13, now a 16-point lead for the Commodores.
He's a 62.5% shooter. It's his 3rd point of the half.
Long on that one. Dieng brought it in. Commodores, after beating the #1 team in the country, off to a hot start in this first half. They can book a slot in the championship game where they'll play either Panhandle Conference Pro, Tallahassee, or Eastern Florida. That'll be our next game. 11 on the shot clock, and it's lost by the Patriots. Ball will go back to Gulf Coast.
Yeah, good defensive play by Cook. He was able to block the shot, get the deflection. Another turnover, double digits now for the Patriots.
Holden thought about it. Drives inside hard and slams it home.
But Holden drawing the defense to give Harden an open look on the baseline. First points of the game for the freshman. Well, a bit surprising, isn't it? 18-point lead here.
It is. This is, on the men's side, the first really lopsided affair there. Harden draws the whistle from Dieng. Yeah, Dieng did not like that call whatsoever. He's upset. He's eyeing the referee. And this is where you have to avoid.
Yeah, he's got to be careful going after the official.
Yeah, Waylon Napper is trying to calm down Dieng, telling him, just yell, shut up. And that's really what you have to do. I mean, it's tough. You don't like the foul call, and that's completely understandable. But if you're Dieng, you definitely have to avoid. You've already had one tech assessed to Jaron Williams.
Harden just a 41% free throw shooter.
Official giving some words to players of each squad there. Double bonus are the Commodores. And this has certainly been, we've used this word a couple times already, but the most chippy game that we've had. Dieng taking it all the way. He's going to try to work out some frustration, but it's batted away. So Napper gathers Dieng, brings it in. Dieng once again not able. It looked like he just wanted to go up to the rim and get out his frustration with a dunk, but instead it's Devonta Cook who converts, and he's got an and-one opportunity. 20-point margin in this one with just 4:21 left to go in the first half.
And he becomes the 7th player to score in this first half for the Commodores. First points of the game for the freshman Cook. What a performance here in the first half by Gulf Coast, looking to knock off another nationally ranked team. You know, coming into this tournament, Central Florida averaging 83 points a game. They've got 13.
Now, the one key thing to keep in mind is we saw a 23-point run from Tallahassee on Wednesday in their first round matchup. We saw a similar run yesterday in women's action. So this tournament has already shown us that early deficits can be overcome, but the Patriots have an uphill battle, and that is not going to make things any easier.
Also, Jake, the captain of the Patriots has had to take a seat on the bench. Angelo Johnson picked up his third foul. So Johnson with 3 and Beamer with 3. Unlikely we'll see either player for the rest of this first half. So can they weather the storm, already down 21?
Yeah. 4 minutes. An offensive foul, Waylon Napper, and that is what you need from your leader. You need key plays, key moments like that, even with adversity. Waylon Napper was the one who went over to Dieng and just told him to calm down and relax and stay in this one, and there's Napper taking a charge.
Just the first foul on Cameron Holden.
Over the top to Napper. He'll take it all the way himself. Whistle, so he'll likely go to the line. Chance to start chipping away at that deficit. Can't do anything about the first 16 minutes if you're the Patriots, but you can certainly still control the last 24.
Well, as I've always said, the most important time in a basketball game are the first 4 minutes of a half and the last 4 minutes of a half. So how you play here down the stretch could determine what's going to happen in the second half.
Napper can get it under 20 points. That margin with 4:02 in the first half. It's been a quick start from Gulf Coast. Can't get that one to go, and Commodores now led by Devonta Cook. Looks like Mayo and Harden are getting set to check back in for Gulf Coast. With Beamer and Johnson on the bench, if you're the Commodores, as you mentioned, Mike, you want to get every point and every advantage you can out of this final 4 minutes, but a miss there. Patriots with a chance to get another basket and continue to cut down the lead. Tipped out of bounds. Ball will stay with the Patriots, and now Mayo and Harden indeed check in.
Yesterday, Central Florida shot 51.3% for the game. In this first half, they're shooting 20%.
When you juxtapose that with 52% for the Commodores and 44% from behind the line for the Commodores.
Yeah, obviously the Commodores have had something to do with that. It's a good defensive team. Really active.
Napper spins around, throws it up. Dieng, it's blocked away by Harden, but Cook lost it. Now it's Ortiz with the basketball. Ortiz, he's fouled. Lands awkwardly, but see if he can get up and shoot those foul shots.
And he is an excellent free throw shooter. 82.9% on the year.
Yeah, it was a tough landing there, and Ortiz rolls over.
Played his
go ahead.
High school ball at Vanguard High School in Ocala.
A little bit of a limp for Ortiz, but getting set to shoot those shots, grabbing around the right foot, it appears.
Phillip averages 5.8 a game off the bench.
You see it in the background there, Waylon Napper looking over Ortiz. Napper is once again with Beamer in foul trouble and with Johnson now in foul trouble. It's once again going to be Waylon Napper who is going to be called upon to lead this Patriots squad. He did so on Wednesday. We'll see if he can guide them to a win today. It's going to take a Herculean effort from he and his Patriot teammates to come back. But it is certainly something that is doable. Harden guarded by Dieng, out of bounds. Ball will be rewarded to the Commodores.
Technical foul has just been assessed.
And Dieng just not able to control his emotions. So after a couple of minutes, he's still immensely frustrated, and he's whistled for that Tech officials.
Philip
talking
Ortiz.
it out.
Yeah, Jake, Philip Ortiz was just trying to settle him down a little bit. I think maybe he should probably come off the floor.
And Napper pleading the Patriot case to the officials.
Again, this is tough. I mean, you got Johnson and Beamer with 3 fouls apiece. You got Dieng, who is having trouble controlling his emotions.
If the Patriots are able to come back and win in this one, it's going to be maybe the most impressive effort that we've seen all weekend. And we've seen some very impressive efforts, but won't be hyperbole to say this would be an amazing comeback with the foul trouble, with now technicals assessed on several occasions.
Best free throw shooter at the line, 88.2% on the year, is Jamie Pierre-Louis. First point for him.
Back to a 20-point margin with 3:05 remaining in this first half. Both teams in the double bonus down the stretch here. Harden, see him right in front of our broadcast position. He's made some huge plays here to extend the Commodore lead in this one. He was battling down low with Dieng, and I don't imagine he and Dieng battling probably contributed to the frustration there for number 5 of the Patriots that led up to that Tech.
Well, you can't let 20 become 26 or 28-point lead. Under 3 minutes to play, you just got to keep playing.
And when Dieng now on the bench, and you can see Dieng, he just puts his head in the towel there. He knows that that was a spot he should have been in, and Harden takes advantage of his absence.
That's the 12th turnover for the Patriots.
Oh, how about that? Latrell Jones from behind with the block and a whistle against, let's see who that one's assessed on.
They're going to give it to Holden. He tried to blame it on his teammate. Second foul on Cam Holden.
Looks like Maurice Gordon is going to check in for the Commodores. We'll see whose spot he takes. There's Anna Kanye shooting those foul shots.
65.5% on the year for the line.
It'll be Holden who takes his seat, so avoiding any more whistles on him likely for the remainder of this half. It's Maurice Gordon as Anna Kanye gets set to shoot number 2.
And again, unofficially 12 points. We'll check it at the half for Holden.
There was the putback in earlier in this one that he and I believe it was Owens that, or Mayo that both went up for that putback, and that's the one clarification, one loose end to tie up from this first half. Owens driving on Ortiz, takes all the way. He's met by Anakanye, but over the top.
All right, tough shot.
To go in.
Yeah, nice move.
40-18. Now our score.
And they're shooting 53.6%. Only 19% for Central Florida. Just about everything has gone against Central Florida here in the first half. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with the way Gulf Coast is playing. Good job by the acting coach, Scott Jackson.
And that's just a miscommunication. Look over at Tim Ryan and the frustration on his face. This is, I think, a situation at this point for the Patriots where you just want to get into the locker room and regroup. Owens off the Harden screen. Hesitates now, kicks over to Mayo. Owens, defensive miscommunication, left Owens wide open, but he's long on that jump shot. Napper pushing. Napper lays it in, and the whistle goes against Pierre-Louis. So Waylon Napper will get a chance to complete a three-point play.
That's his 5th point of the first half. Just nice little scoop shot in the paint. Second foul called against Pierre-Louis. Napper averages 15.8 a game. Had a big game yesterday, or day before yesterday. Scored 25 of his 29 in the second half. They could use another second half performance like that again.
Absolutely. There's Napper, who's long on the foul shot. It's rebounded by Harden. Devonta Cook, as we reach the 1 minute mark remaining in the first half of play. It's been all Commodores. Marzette takes, kicks to Gordon. Oh, Gordon wanted to slam it home. Almost had that Dwight Howard dunk contest slam where you just throw it in from a foot away. Napper can't get that one to go.
Anakanye, though, right there to get the rebound, and he'll go back to the line where he's 2 for 2. Foul called on Pierre-Louis, so quickly he has picked up his 3rd foul.
And somehow if Gordon would have completed that dunk, it still wouldn't have been the most impressive dunk we've seen this weekend. We've seen
some posterizing dunks.
Absolutely. We saw one where we went back and looked at it afterwards.
Player got stepped on.
Yeah, stepped on the chest, the numbers there.
Yeah, right.
It was, but that was the game that involved these Commodores, and it was a Buccaneer player who slammed that dunk home, but at the end of the day, the Commodores got the most important stat of the night, and that was the tally mark in the win column in the slot here in this semifinal game. Devonta Cook patiently bringing the ball up the floor, and we close out this first half under 30 seconds. Marzette lost that one. Did the Commodores. So the Patriots a chance with a 19-point deficit to take off 2 or 3 more heading into the break.
And again, Beamer on the bench with 3 fouls. Let's see who takes the final shot of the half. Napper seems the likely person to take it.
He's certainly the man you want bringing the ball up the floor in this situation. Ortiz now. Ortiz lays it in. How about Philip Ortiz? And with so many Patriots in foul trouble, an Ortiz performance in this one could be key for the Patriots. And we'll see what he does and what Bryce Beamer does when he returns in the second half, what Angelo Johnson does. It's a 17-point game, so after a 20-plus point deficit for the Patriots, they've gotten it back to a number that I think you can look at in the locker room and say, there's a path to victory, but the Commodores are still firing on all cylinders, and it's going to take, as I said earlier, a Herculean effort for these Patriots.
Yeah, they had 26 first-half points yesterday against the Buccaneers, 40 first-half points today. It just seemed like everything was going right for Gulf Coast. Central Florida, tempers flaring, with Dieng, and then the foul situation with Beamer picking up 3 fouls early, and also Johnson picking up 3 fouls as well. But there's a whole second half to go, and we'll see, how they respond in the second half. But I'm sure Tim Ryan will tell them, guys, we just need to break this thing down into minutes, 4-minute blocks here, and let's try to win each of those blocks to get back into this game.
Absolutely. So can the Commodores hold off the Patriots? Can the Patriots come back? We'll see in the second half of action. I'm Jake Mitchell. He's Mike Rideout. This is Emerald Coast TV. We'll be back here again for the second half here. Northwest Florida State College and Raider Arena.
My name is Devin Stevenson, and I'm president of Northwest Florida State College. We are proud to host the 2020 Men's and Women's NJCAA District 8 State Basketball Championships. Northwest Florida State College, along with Okaloosa and Walton counties, are thrilled that you are visiting our community and hope that you have an opportunity to experience all that we have to offer on the Emerald Coast. The student athletes participating in these championships exemplify the spirit of sportsmanship and commitment to excellence. We applaud their dedication and determination on the court and in the classroom. Enjoy the games and our beautiful Emerald Coast.
And we welcome you back inside Raider Arena on the campus of Northwest Florida State College. The second half of action set to go in our first game today, first semifinal game. This involves the College of Central Florida and Gulf Coast State. And we welcome you into our broadcast position. I'm Jake Mitchell. He's Mike Rideout as we get set. A 17-point game. The Commodores lead in this one. And Mike, a couple of technicals and certainly some chippiness in that first half combined with that deficit. The Patriots face an uphill battle in this last 20 minutes.
Yeah, again, they had the hothead there with Dieng and had to get him off the floor. And then also the foul situation with Angelo Johnson having 3 fouls, Bryce Beamer having 3 fouls. Hard to get in any kind of a rhythm when you have 3 of your 5 starters on the bench. So, again, this is not an insurmountable lead. I know it might look like it at 17 points, but the 3-point line is the biggest equalizer in college basketball. So don't count Central Florida out just yet. They are ranked number 18 in the country for a reason. Take a look at some of the numbers from the first half, though. The points off for turnovers were big in the first half. 13 Central Florida turnovers. And Gulf Coast State College outscored the Patriots 20-9 in points off for turnovers. The turnovers and then shooting from the floor, as Central Florida was just 6 of 25, 24% from the floor, including 1 of 7 from three-point land. And Gulf Coast took 5 more shots, but they also made 9 more shots. They were 50% from the floor, 15 of 30.
And I notice you've got this number highlighted. I noticed this one as well. Waylon Napper played all 20 minutes of that first half as Holden takes all the way. A good start for the Commodores, but Waylon Napper, the Patriots, never sat on the bench, and he's been as he works out of a press there. But Napper's kind of been the calming force for this team, is thrown away there by Jaron Williams, but
yeah, back-to-back turnovers. I noted 13 in the first half. They've got to take care of the basketball. You're limiting your possessions, and also, again, as I noted, a chance to get into a rhythm. You can't get into a rhythm when you're turning it over.
Mayo wide right on that shot, brought in by Dieng. It was Dieng who was assessed a technical late, and he was upset for a couple of minutes, and it finally culminated in that technical. Beamer long on that shot. He was defended well by Mayo. If you're the Patriots, though, that Beamer shot is not an encouraging start. You're going to need, as you mentioned, to have that great equalizer, the deep ball. Beamer, a guy who shoots the deep ball well, usually.
Yeah, he's one of the best per attempt shooters in the state. He shoots 44.3% from three-point range. Actually, correction, 39%. 44% from the floor, 39.2% from three-point range.
Jaron Williams, call him Rondo, kicks out to Johnson. Johnson pulls up after bobbling it late in the shot clock, no good. Napper tried to bring it in. Ball will remain with the Patriots.
Central Florida averages 43 rebounds per game. They out-rebounded Gulf Coast State 27-18 in the first half.
Williams takes, he's too strong on that shot. It's brought in by Dieng. Dieng can't get it to go. Dieng still fired up, he and Harden. And a technical foul is assessed against Pape Dieng. Wow, that is, obviously we are not on the floor, can't hear what he said. He and Dieng and Harden were jawing. Napper now is pleading with Dieng. What are you doing, man? He's obviously frustrated there.
And I'm not sure if Dieng understands, based on his body language, what he did. He may have said something that shouldn't have been said. That's what his teammates are just trying to help him with. But
yeah, he and Harden were jawing, and again, we're not on the floor and couldn't make out what was said. We just know there was jawing back and forth, so obviously something had to be said that crossed the line. Officials will certainly let some, well-hearted trash talk go, but when you've had a game like this that's been so chippy, you've had, several instances. You had the Tech against Williams. He and Holden got into it a little bit, and then Dieng earlier was furious. And when you're in this kind of game, in this kind of situation, you, as an official, I think have to be a little extra safe here in the second half and not let things escalate. So again, it was just some jawing back and forth, but
and it may have been a taunting thing, because
yeah, absolutely,
he did look at the Commodore player, so it may not even have been actually what he said as much as it could have been from a taunting standpoint.
Well, and so much of it is preventative. If you go back on the D1 level to earlier this year, the Kansas State brawl that took place, it was sparked by a dunk and then a player that was standing over another player that was on the ground and jawing at him. That's why that taunting rule is in place. It's not necessarily the taunting as much as it is what the taunting can lead to.
Dieng having a seat at the end of the Central Florida bench. And he's actually heading to the locker room, Jake.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we'll see him again today.
Very, very frustrating day for Dieng. And earlier, Tim Ryan went over to console him after that second tech and just kind of give him some words. Obviously, frustration for Dieng and these Patriots. We'll see Owens shoot this foul shot. Tough to believe we're only a minute and a half into this second half. It's been an eventful first 90 seconds. Still a 20-point margin, though. Owens puts it at 21.
Gulf Coast 6 for 6 in technical foul shots today. This is 7 points for the sophomore Owens.
And it's things like that that add up, those 6 foul shots, along with the better shooting night from beyond the arc. Two things that have fueled this lead. Also the points off the turnovers. Beamer strong from the corner. There's Waylon Napper. Just touches it back in and then draws the foul as well, so he'll get a chance for a 3-point play.
That's the first field goal of the second half for the Patriots.
Pierre-Louis is, oh, he's just retying the shoe. Or excuse me, that's Devonta Cook that's down. Thought he may have been hurt, but he was just given a retie to the shoe there. Yeah, Napper with that impressive play. As you take a look on the replay, now he'll get a chance to complete the old school 3-point play. And
he is 63% on the year, but today 1 for 3.
It's Latrell Jones checking in, David Anakanye, and that's tough. Anakanye limping off the floor a little bit there, so Dieng out of the game, and Anakanye now hurt. Oh, there's Angelo Johnson, a nice turnover. Great play and a timeout for the Commodores. They'll take a break and look to sort things out, but there's that thought. Anakanye goes out, so the size for the Patriots is either been disqualified from this one or now is dealing with what looks to be lower body injuries, walking it off in the tunnel on that right corner. There's a look at the Patriot bench, and Beamer and Ortiz. There's the Commodores.
That's two 6'8" players, though, that are out for the Patriots, at least for the moment. Not sure if...
There he is. He jogged around a little bit over there in the tunnel and now walks back. You see him there on your screen just walking in, and after jogging for a couple seconds, the limp looked to go away a tad. He's still rolling the ankle around, but we'll keep an eye on Anna Kanye. As again, there's Beamer with the face mask, the number 3. He missed a lot of this first half with foul trouble. If you're in Tim Ryan in that Patriot bench, what's the message as you continue to kind of bang your head against this wall that you're at?
Well, you just have to be short-sighted. I mean, you have to put this stuff behind you and move forward. Yes, things have gone against you, but there's still 18 minutes to play in the game. So a big steal by Angelo Johnson. AJ with his first field goal of the game. We'll see if that gets him going. But still, despite the slow start here in the second half, they can still make a run and get back in this thing.
Owens crosses the half-court line, kicks up to Grant Howard. Howard can't get it to go. Gordon no good on the putback, brought in by Mayo, and Mayo finally rolls it in.
Yeah, Beamer having to be careful there with those 3 fouls. Quick answer, though, by Napper. He's got 10.
So back to 17 points is the deficit, and 17 points with 17:40 left on the clock. Certainly not over by any stretch of the imagine, but a foul against Johnson, and he was in foul trouble early in this one.
Yeah, and that's going to be his 4th.
Oh, man.
So Philip Ortiz will have to spell him here. You know, and if you're the Commodores, you keep the foot on the gas. You can put them away here early in the second half. And while Central Florida wants to go on a little bit of a run to try to get back in this thing, Commodores could go on a run of their own to mentally take the Patriots out of this one. Actually, Williams just picked up his 3rd foul.
Cook working on Ortiz. 10 on the shot clock. Owens now guarded by Napper. Howard, it's tipped away by Latrell Jones. Just the perfect placement there now. Up ahead to Rondo, can't get it to go, but there's Latrell Jones.
First field goal for Jones. He's got 4.
15 points is the deficit, so Latrell Jones with a big basket after immediately being substituted in, and an empty possession for the Commodores. Up ahead, there's Jaron Williams. He's wide left. Ortiz not able to get to it, and Owens not able to get to it either, but the whistle appears to go against Ortiz.
Yeah, but that's a good foul there because that's an easy layup. Otherwise, just the first on Phillip. Good effort, diving to the floor.
Officials talking things over, so it looks like they're gonna, just a clarification for the scorers table. Okay, so now Howard gonna inbound as we get back underway. Now there's Devontae Cook. He's guarded by Philip Ortiz. And another stoppage. Reese Gordon out by the half-court circle. Cook dribbling around, and the Commodores are making sure they use at least 10 to 15 seconds of this shot clock every time down. There's Owens laying it in.
That's 10 points for Owens. He averages 13 points a game. Scored 11 in the win on Wednesday.
Latrell Jones, the nice dunk, puts it back at a 15-point deficit. Patriots to string together some nice defensive possessions if they hope to get back in this one. That man that's the on-ball defender now, Bryce Beamer, want to see him getting going from behind the arc as well. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Holden drives. Holden dishes inside to Grant Howard, but Howard just shy. How about Maurice Gordon pulling in the rebound? And Maurice Gordon putting it back. A huge Commodore basket. Every time the Patriots have some encouraging signs, the Commodores seem to come through with a big play. Bumped into our scorers table there, did Holden. Holden now rose up. There's Howard after. How about Maurice Gordon midair? The adjustment. Latrell Jones slams it home. Oh, exciting back and forth sequence there.
Well, and they needed someone to give them a lift, and Jones is doing that off the bench. The sophomore has scored 6 of his 8 here in the second half, early in the second half. So we're kind of right where we started with the half. It was a 17-point game at halftime, as you take another look at the dunk there. And it's a 17-point game now. But I think the difference is the fact that, you know, the wheels started kind of coming off early in the second half for the Patriots. A couple of quick turnovers to begin, and then also, you know, what happened with Dieng and the technical foul. Again, 15 minutes is still a lot of time. You can make up 17 points in 15 minutes. And Jones seems to be giving them a little bit of a lift. It's big, you know, with Johnson having 4 fouls. Beamer's on the inside. You know, he's your, you know, him and Williams both have 3 fouls apiece. And the uncertainty with Anakanye, not knowing if he's going to be able to come back, as we saw him limping earlier. And then Dieng, you know, headed to the locker room. We don't know if we'll see him again. You just have to find a way to piece it together. But certainly, Central Florida not out of this thing yet. Now on the other side for the Commodores, again, as I mentioned, they just need to continue doing what they are doing. Don't get complacent. And I don't think that they have shown any signs of complacement in this game at all.
Absolutely, as we get our look at the updated stat sheet, and we almost had our first player come into our broadcast position. Holden banged into the booth over here.
Gulf Coast shooting 62.5%. They've had some layups in there. 5 for 8 from the floor. Central Florida 6 of 12 for 50%.
1 of 10 from the three-point line are the Patriots. So one of the biggest factors that drove their Game 1 victory. Oh, nice move there. Owens now with the basketball. Owens kicks over. Pierre-Louis drains the 3 from the corner.
That's his first field goal of the game. He's got a couple of technical foul shots. 5 points for the freshman. They carry the lead back up to 20 again.
Napper right in front of our broadcast position. He takes a deep 3. He's just off there. It's brought in by Owens. Cooked ahead, or brought ahead to Cook. Cook just throws it off the backboard. Sets it up perfectly for Owens. Oh my. This Commodore team is feeling it right now. They are absolutely cooking.
Williams gets his first basket of the second half. Yeah, but always love the assist off the backboard for dunks.
Well, that was a dunk contest-like setup. And again, this Commodore team is just firing on all cylinders. I mean, you beat the #1 team in the country on Wednesday. If you're the Commodores, you come into this game with the mentality of, if we can beat them, we can beat anybody. This is, I've had a chance to call this team a few times this year. They played here at Raider Arena against the Raiders. We here at Emerald Coast TV brought your Raider basketball home conference games all January, February long, and I think this might be, as Beamer not able to put it back, I think this may be just the loosest Gulf Coast performance. Is a scramble for the basketball. Scrum. Holden gathers it, calls the timeout. So it's Holden that is the stabilizing force. But now just to finish that thought, I mean, this is just a loose performance. They're smiling on the bench. They're dapping each other up. Everyone's excited. They're joking around. This team is just loose as can be, and it's part of the reason they're up 20 points.
Yeah, and again, they're doing it without their head coach. Philip Gaffney is not here because of a heart attack that he suffered in mid-January. And their acting coach, Scott Jackson, did you see him? He was putting his hand in the air to try to get the fans that are here on their feet. Yeah, that show, when your coach is doing that, it makes you feel, it kind of loosens you up a little bit. They are playing with kind of that loose abandonment. And it's a team that knocked off the #1 team in the country. So, you know, they had a little bit of confidence coming into this one after beating a team that only had lost one time all year.
Delonta Cook kicks over to Mayo. The pressure from the Patriots still. They're not going to give up in this one. They've been frustrated at times. Pierre-Louis drains another deep shot. That one just a 2, but still impressive deep jumper. Napper splits the defense, and I believe Mayo was whistled for that one. And the Patriots, no let up from them. It's been a frustrating afternoon, but they continue to play hard. Williams will inbound from right in front of our broadcast position. He's defended by Mayo. Latrell Jones spins. Nice take from Latrell Jones.
That'll be the 4th on Pierre-Louis. So Jones now in double figures. Chance at a 3-point play and get this thing back under 20.
Every time that the Patriots have had a nice sequence, the Commodores have been able to counter. So if you're the Patriots, this is one that I hope you can sustain. A couple of nice defensive possessions, maybe, and still at that 20-point mark, though. And I have to start stringing those together soon. Commodores have made sure and taken up as much of that shot clock as they can. Maybe not on that possession as Mayo decides to take all the way. He draws the foul on Latrell Jones. There you go, you see. Oh, Jones maybe had his foot in the circle there. It was close. Also the question on whether he was set or not. Mayo no good there. If you subscribe to the theory that the ball doesn't lie, then maybe an incorrect call there. We'll see if Mayo can hit the second. No good on the second, so no points out of that foul. Taking all the way there. Another nice take from Latrell Jones. He's doing his part to get the Patriots back in this one.
Yeah, they're going with a hot hand. Little isolation play there for Jones.
And Jones was the one that batted that ball away and then dove for it. So the effort from Jones has been impressive. And the offensive foul, Bryce Beamer there. We haven't called Beamer's name a ton today, but he comes through in the clutch. So there, Beamer. Oh, a nice setup there from Beamer. So 2 Jones baskets. Jones frustrates the Commodore offense at midcourt, and Beamer finishes it off by taking a charge. We're at 18.
And the reason that's such a big play is because if it's a block, it's a 4th foul on Beamer.
Johnson can't get it to go. He will go to the line. Patriots, by the way, in the bonus now, so 13 minutes of foul shots upcoming for them. 13 minutes of potential foul shots. We'll see how much of a factor that plays late. Johnson good on the first.
8 different players with at least 2 fouls for Gulf Coast. Johnson 3 for 3 from the line today.
13:01, you can get it to 15. We've seen this lead cut to 15 earlier in the second half, but Patriots want to do more than just cut it to 15, obviously. Gets the second one to go. Nice pair of foul shots from Johnson. Pressure now, reinvigorated pressure from the Patriots, but breaks it just holding up to Cook. Now Marzette kicks to Maurice Gordon. How do you stunt momentum? By slamming the basketball home. Jaron Williams not able to counter, and the Commodores now with a chance to push that lead back to 20. Trend continues. Patriots positivity has consistently been countered by the Commodores.
And that's got to be a little deflating. You know, you make a little dent in the deficit, only to see the Commodores come back and potentially now get this thing back up to 20 again.
You know, gaining a lead is difficult, but maintaining a lead can be just as difficult sometimes. The Commodores been impressive in this second half, keeping it around 20, no lower than 15. That lead now at 19, 12:34 remaining. Both teams in the bonus.
$18 today for Holden. He averages 20.6 a game.
If you notice a few blue shirts in that tunnel, top of your screen, that is Eastern Florida, led by Jeremy Shulman. They'll take on Tallahassee in the second game, second semifinal of our afternoon. Napper can't get it to go. Beamer fought for it, gathered by Napper. Napper, chance for another three-point play for the Patriots.
This will be the second and one opportunity for the freshman. 7 of his 12 have come here in the second half. Foul called on Maurice Gordon. That's his third.
Well, Napper, no good. Brought in by Harden. Devonta Cook pushing up the floor, numbers advantage. Gordon recollects the basketball, and now Commodores will pull out and be patient with things here. Grant Howard, guarded by Jaron Williams. Howard takes it all the way himself. Gordon tried to tip it back in. There's Harden gathering the basketball. And a huge, huge rebound and gathered by Harden, because now you get a chance to eat more of that shot clock. Marzette, far side, will be taken out. Maybe injury there. He looks to be banged up. He'll get checked on. We'll keep an eye on that situation. Kalen Marzette, very valuable role player for this team. 6 on the shot clock. Cook gonna pull up. Oh my, Devontae Cook. How about that?
Wow, that's tough, you know, with no time left on the shot clock. Williams, quick answer.
I mean, how do you even defend a three like that? Now Cook gonna take all the way. Dish to Harden. Harden wanted to dunk it. He chose to lay it in instead, and that Williams answer that you mentioned immediately countered by Harden.
First points of the second half for the freshman.
Napper takes. Napper good.
But you can't exchange baskets. You got to be able to put together a little bit of a run here as we approach, well, we're under 11 minutes now to play in the game. And you're down more now than you were at the half.
This Commodore team playing their best basketball at the right time. They beat the nation's #1 squad, Florida Southwestern, on Wednesday afternoon. Now there's Howard. Howard shy a turnaround late in the shot clock, but oh, Napper, how about that? The basket will count, and he'll get a chance to shoot a foul shot.
He's really picked up here in the second half, like he did in their game against Broward College on Wednesday. He scored 25 of his 29 in the second half. He's got 11 of his 16 here in the second half of this one. Cook picked up the personal, his second. It's 9 players for the Commodores with 2 fouls or more.
Waylon Napper taking a seat, and he's being looked at over on the Patriots sideline.
Well, they just had so many things go against them today. Angelo Johnson on the bench with, well, he was on the bench. He's back in the game. He's got 4 fouls. We've seen Anakanye go out.
It looks like for Napper, maybe not an injury necessarily. He gets a little bandage on the shoulder, maybe a cut that needed to be covered up there. So Napper back on the floor to shoot these foul shots, and all good for he and the Patriots, at least in terms of his health. But obviously you want to eat into this 17-point lead. They've gotten it down to 15, but haven't been able to do anything more than that. Here, there's Latrell Jones. He throws it in.
But it all started on the rebound by the 5'9" sophomore Angelo Johnson, the captain of the Patriots, keeping it alive. And now a 3-point play opportunity for Latrell Jones.
And Jones was staring down one of the Commodores. Credit to Waylon Napper, continuing to be the stabilizing force for the Patriots. Napper got over there, said, let's relax. We won that possession. Now you get the chance to shoot the free throw. Don't get into any more trouble than you need to. Latrell Jones, by the way, that's kind of that Dwight Howard style dunk where you don't necessarily slam it in, but throw it from a few inches away. 14 points. The margin is cut down to 10-16. The window is more than open now for the Patriots, but they don't have a few stars in foul trouble. They'll have to navigate that.
Owens today, 2 for 3 from the line. 12 points.
That one brought in by Latrell Jones. Kick ahead to Johnson. Johnson takes all the way, adjusts midair. A beautiful lay-in from Johnson.
That's 8 now for the sophomore. So the offensive rebounding.
And it's now at 12. So the Patriots have finally gotten it all the way down to 12. A stoppage and a basket here. They could potentially cut it down to single digits. The momentum is firmly in behind the Patriots, but how about that? That's just another example of the Commodores and their ability to shut down momentum. Holden with the huge basket.
Yeah, you go to your leading scorer. He averages 20.6 a game, and that gives him 20.
There's a new energy for these Patriots.
If that's on Mayo, that's his 4th.
Oh, so now the Commodores facing some foul trouble.
It is on the freshman. .935 is a lot of time.
And double bonus, so guaranteed 2 foul shots on every whistle that goes against the Commodores for the College of Central Florida.
As a team, Central Florida shoots 70.9%. Williams shoots 70.4%. He had missed on an and one earlier.
Mayo takes a seat. Devonta Cook back in the game. He hit that deep 3 earlier as time expired on the shot clock. Long was the Williams free throw. 16-26 are the Patriots from the foul line. Big defensive possessions here for the Patriots. Can they get a stoppage? They do there. Throw all the way up ahead, and it's stolen by who else but Cam Holden.
Boy, that may have been, probably should have been a travel.
Oh, Jacoby Owens. So you see Latrell Jones at the bottom of your screen just throw his hands up in frustration, and that is the perfect visual representation of that back and forth sequence. I mean, you eat into it, you get it to 12, and then a missed travel call potentially, and Owens now an and-one opportunity. It's just continuing to fight that uphill battle under the Patriots.
And kind of adding salt to the wound is the fact that that's the 4th foul on Bryce Beamer.
This is just as tough as it gets if you're Tim Ryan leading this Patriot squad. Still time, though.
Sometimes it's just not your day.
So a stoppage here. We're under 10 minutes in this second half. 75-59 is the score. There's a look at Waylon Napper making his way to the bench, and we welcome you into our broadcast position. I'm Jake Mitchell. He's Mike Rideout as we check back in. Want to remind you that you can get all the tournament action here at Emerald Coast TV, the YouTube page, the Facebook page. Just give a search to Emerald Coast TV. There's a look at Central Florida, and now we welcome you in. Mike, it's been an uphill battle for the Patriots, and every time that they've gotten some momentum, it's been a counter from the Commodores. So 9:03 left in this one. It's still within reach, but it's going to be a tough task for these Patriots.
And really, you go all the way back to when the score was tied at 7. We had the technical foul. It ends up being an 8-0 run, a 15-7 lead. And you mentioned uphill battle. It just seems like since that technical foul, and then we had another technical foul. Dieng lost for the game just because he couldn't control his temper. You know, the foul situation starting to mount up. Beamer just picking up his 4th. AJ already has 4 fouls. So, yeah, it's tough playing against a Commodore team that's playing really good basketball, coming off a win against the #1 team in the country. Holden having another nice game with 20 points. But again, 9:03 is still a lot of time, so it's still not over. All that said, just yet.
Views from around Raider Arena. Gotta give a shout out there that I love the Miami City uniforms. I love that powder blue Miami Vice look. So there, whoever that is in the stands that's rocking the powder blue number 3, I love it. I think that's the best city uniform in the NBA. It's gotta be, right?
You like my old school tie today too.
I do, yeah. Mike is rocking the throwback logo tie. And I made the remark when walked in this morning and said half of those logos should still be the logo.
Right. 18 turnovers for Central Florida.
16 points. Double bonus are the Patriots. Bonus are the Commodores.
For the game, Gulf Coast shooting 57% from the floor.
Holden misses and gathers his own rebound. It's just, it looked too easy gathering that rebound for Holden.
They don't have as much of the inside presence with Dieng not on the floor.
So Holden misses twice on that possession, gets his own rebound both times. There's a pass ahead to Williams that cancels out the Holden basket, but you know, every offensive rebound for the Commodores is so huge because now with just over 8 minutes, the more they eat that clock, the better. A travel there on Holden.
And once again, we don't know for certain, but if the Patriots don't come back and win this, still likely that they can get an at-large berth to the national tournament in Kansas. As many as 2 at-large berths. No more than 3 teams from the region can make it to the national tournament.
Owens takes all the way. He's fouled. Oh, Beamer was knocked down. Looked like Beamer may have taken a shot. He's wearing that mask. He and Owens both went down hard. Both up and walking around, and some sportsmanship there. So after a chippy start, both teams have settled down a tad. Yeah, it looked like just a errant elbow that happened to catch Beamer. So all is well. Beamer will give a shake of the hand to the Gulf Coast coaches and class from Beamer there. You love to see that. He shakes the hands of a few Commodores, the officials, and says, just not our day. I foul out, I'll take a seat, and we'll see if my teammates can't complete a comeback here.
Fouls out with just 3 points today after the big game on Wednesday.
And in both performances, Beamer, both in the great scoring performance and today with a little more struggle, the thing that you got to give credit to Beamer for is the heart, man. He plays hard up and down the floor on both ends of the floor, and just not his day today. You mentioned it though, season is not guaranteed to be over by any means. Those at-large bids that could come from one of these squads that doesn't win it all this weekend. Owens gets that one to go. Lead is back to 18 now. Double bonus for both squads as we play out this final 7:42. Napper, how about that? Not able to get it to go, but still crafty adjustment in the air. He'll go to the free throw line.
Foul whistled on Holden. That's his fourth.
Napper long. Checking in are Javon Mayo as well as Jamie Pierre-Louis for the Commodores. Cam Holden as well as Grant Howard taking a seat. It'll be a 5 p.m. tip on Saturday night for the winner of this one against the winner of our 3 p.m. game. Coming up next, it'll be Tallahassee taking on Eastern Florida. The Titans and the Eagles will square off in what should be an exciting matchup. Cook working on Napper, 10 on the shot clock. Now 5. Kicks out to Pierre-Louis, 3 on the shot clock. Drains the 3, another one. The Commodores are just firing on all cylinders today.
They may be the team of destiny in this state tournament. Knocking off potentially 2 nationally ranked teams here to get there.
This was a very good team during the regular season, but if I can think of a comparison, I go back to March Madness a year ago, and an Auburn team that was very good during the regular season, got to the March Madness, beat North Carolina, beat Kansas, and along the way he said, we're going to beat powerhouses, we're going to beat the great teams, and kind of announce their presence. That's what Gulf Coast is doing, man. You beat number 1, you come out here and you win a game against this kind of team in dominant fashion. They just, along this March Madness road, these Commodores are announcing their presence.
Yeah, they have definitely earned their spot in the final on Saturday, assuming this lead holds up, but they've been in control throughout, doing it without their head coach, Philip Gaffney. Scott Jackson, you know, we talked about the fact that it's an opportunity for players to play in front of college coaches and elevate their potential to play at the next level. How about for Scott Jackson coaching in this, you know, getting his team to the state tournament as an assistant coach and possibly getting to the finals of the state tournament? That might bode well for him down the road as well.
Absolutely. You've mentioned all day yesterday and Thursday as well, there's a ton of college scouts around, D1 scouts, big schools. We saw a script day in the crimson tracksuit walking around here on Thursday or Wednesday, excuse me, and we've seen several other logos. In fact, a St. John's tracksuit, and if you're familiar here with the Raiders, you know that belongs to one Coach Stephen DeMayo, and he returned and had a chance to catch up with all the Raider staff here that have really put on a fantastic tournament. You know, I had a chance to call conference games, but just here on the Emerald Coast TV side of things. I got to give credit to the Raiders. They've put on a fantastic tournament. It's been a great atmosphere. This is a great arena, and we're happy to be here and couldn't ask for a better arena to spend a weekend at.
Jake, taking a look at the box score that was just handed to us. Central Florida, this just goes to show you how tough it's been against Gulf Coast today, because Central Florida is shooting 63% in the second half, yet they were down by 17 at the end of the first half, and they trailed by one more point here in the second half.
Yeah, certainly a credit to the Patriots. Their offensive performance has been very, very good in the second half, but the Commodores have just been a freight train that you can't slow down.
And here's one reason why the Commodores have been so good in the second half. They're shooting 65% from the floor.
Pass up to Latrell Jones.
For the game, 56.6%.
Jones not able to get it to go. How about Angelo Johnson grabbing the board but loses the basketball? It'll return to the Commodores. Just a day where the bounces haven't gone in Central Florida's way. You have your point guard go up and grab a board, but then he immediately loses it. Kalen Marzette is fouled, and he'll go to the foul line.
Looking for his first points today.
We remind you, for everything regarding this tournament, the road to Lubbock and as well as the road to Hutch that's playing out today. Follow on Twitter at Region 8 Hoops. It's going to be the Roman numeral at Region VIII Hoops. Again, the road to Hutch and the road to Lubbock. You see the hashtags underneath the baskets on each end. Lubbock, Texas, the destination for the women's tournament. The two women's semifinals will be our evening session tonight. 6 p.m. tip and 8 p.m. tip. It'll be the homestanding Raiders in that final game, but the road to Hutch is our focus now. Hutchinson, Kansas is where the Commodores look to be headed if they can win this one and then win one more tomorrow night. Mayo all the way to the basket off the deep pass. Another basket for these Commodores. They have not slowed down whatsoever.
By the way, the previous foul against Central Florida was on Williams. Williams has 4, Johnson has 4, Beamer's already fouled out, Dieng has been in the locker room. So 4 of your 5 starters have been kind of taken out of their game today.
You know, early on when we take a look at the shooting percentages, it's always, you know, a story that you expect will level out as the game goes on. But man, I'll look over and 56% from the field for the Commodores, but this is the number that's truly shocking. 53% from behind the three-point line. They are just knocking down their deep shots. Meanwhile, it's been a struggle, under 10% from behind the three-point line for the Patriots. They've worked the ball inside in the second half, but still haven't been able to get the deep shot going. There's a nice pass inside to Marzette to break the press. Marzette gonna take it all the way. Marzette bangs around with appeared to be Angelo Johnson, and the whistle called on Johnson, I believe. Correction, Waylon Napper called for that one.
That'll be his third.
86-66, so in regulation, these Commodores may hit the 100-point mark. Somehow, you beat the #1 team in the country, and somehow you've been able to top that performance with just a dominant run today.
Against the number 18 team in the country.
Kick to the Ortiz in the corner. Napper now spinning around, kicks backside to Jaron Williams. Williams loses it, now finds Ortiz on the corner. Ortiz forces up a 3 with 19 on the shot clock. He had a hand in the face. Napper, that one rolls around and goes down. Marzette in the corner. Marzette looks like just the heel may have touched out of bounds. A close one, but a call by this near side official.
21 for Napper, 16 in the second half.
Williams is shy. That one at the side of the rim.
You know, it is a Gulf Coast State team that has been able to put up a bunch of points in games this year. You just go back to their last couple of games. They, although it was in triple overtime, scored 108 against Tallahassee, and a loss at Chipola regulation, scored 95. They also scored 126 in a game. They scored 124, 111, 111, 105, 109, 114. So they've had several games reaching triple digits.
There's a deep shot from Angelo Johnson. And, you know, as we kind of take a look at that season-long track record for the Commodores, it's funny when you see all those scores and then you look at like an 86-point performance against the Raiders here at Raider Arena, and that just kind of, that's a regular game.
Yeah.
The 86, I mean, this team is a very productive offensive team because Cam Holden's the star. But that doesn't mean this is a one-man team. The men and women's teams of Gulf Coast are actually very similar, I think, when you think about it. We've called the Gulf Coast game, and they'll play today. There's a look at the Commodores, but welcome into our broadcast position. But, you know, a look at this Commodore team, as we mentioned the similarities between the men and women's squad. For the men, it's Cam Holden. For the women, it's Alana Smith. But that doesn't mean that that's the only option. There are plenty of pieces around Cam Holden in this case, like Jacoby Owens, like Kaylin Marzette, like Trevon Mayo, like Derek Harden inside. This is a team that has a star, but they're so well-rounded in that. I think that's what makes them so effective.
Yeah, and they also have proven that they can win games in a number of different ways. A 68-66 win against Chipola. Just go back a couple of days ago, 75-68 win against the #1 team in the country. So they can run it up, they can run up and down the floor against you, but also they can grind it out and find ways, you know, different ways to win.
Absolutely, and we'll see the Gulf Coast women this afternoon. The aforementioned Alana Smith, as well as Leah Farsi and Tatiana Jones and all the other Commodores that will have a chance tonight to take on Miami-Dade and the Sharks. Delia Brown had a state record 41 points for Miami-Dade, so that one will come your way later this evening. But both men's semifinals here first. Grant Howard, as the Commodores look to close this one out. Maurice Gordon, how about, he has just had a penchant for putting the exclamation point on wins here this weekend.
Meanwhile, we are working on, we're 2 hours and 10 minutes in on a regulation game.
This one, been one that has been marked by stoppages, by technicals, by certainly some back and forth, some chippiness, a couple of replays. It's been a dramatic one, but a lopsided one. There's Cook, he just found a wide open Cook under the basket. Did Grant Howard.
8 points for Cook.
Latrell Jones going to pull up from deep. He's long on that attempt. Brought in by Rondo. That's what they call number 4, Jaron Williams. Philip Ortiz in the corner. Ortiz pumps and takes. Not able to get that one to go. And now a 3-2 advantage numbers-wise for the Commodores on the fast break. Grant Howard is fouled by Waylon Napper, and some frustration for the Patriots now starting to set in. If hadn't already set in, it just is solidifying at this point. In the tunnel there, you see Eastern Florida. It'll be they and Tallahassee that square off next.
Napper just picked up his 4th foul.
Absolutely. Winner of that one going to meet these Commodores as we're under 4 minutes, and the result feeling more and more set in stone as the Commodores have just been, every time the Patriots have tried to rally, man, Gulf Coast has just been there to snuff out the momentum. It's been an impressive day for the Commodores and their ability to keep the Patriots at bay. You mentioned the 18th ranked team in the country.
Question will be, have they done enough to get that at-large berth? Obviously, it will depend on what other teams do around the country.
Well, Latrell Jones scored the basket, then looked like he tripped up a little bit. We'll keep an eye on Jones. By the way, we had one injury earlier. It was Kaylin Marzette, and since that one, he's been on the floor and been moving, so all good for the Commodores on that side. We'll keep an eye on the status of Latrell Jones as Grant Howard goes back to the foul line now. Looking like, barring a offensive famine in the last 3.5 minutes, we're going to get to the 100-point mark for the Commodores. Howard good on the second. Johnson takes, no good. Pressing are the Commodores, once again an advantage. May have been an oop, but off target intended for Gordon. A whistle, and have more foul shots as both teams in the double bonus. Still 3:16 remaining in this game.
Ortiz picks up his third foul. $14 today for Grant Howard off the bench. He's the one that got him going early with the 2 technical foul shots, and then he hit a big 3 as we went from a 7-7 game to a 15-7 lead. And I felt like that kind of set the tone in this one.
Takes all the weight is Angelo Johnson there. And another whistle.
This might be 2.5 hours by the time we're through with this free throw. 3 minutes of free throws.
Trayvon Mayo at the line.
Number 4 on Ortiz.
Connects on that one.
Gulf Coast 25 of 34. 34 free throws today. Although Central Florida shot 31, they made 19.
Angelo Johnson crossing half court. There's Ortiz in the corner, back over to Johnson. He's got to jump up for it, but gathers, kicks over to Williams, who makes the pass to Ortiz. Ortiz no good. Tried to slam it home, did Latrell Jones. Now pushing up the floor, there's Maurice Gordon. Gordon pulls out, and now the Commodores will try to chew some of that clock.
And it looks like they've called him off now.
$14 points is the margin, and with 2.5, it's starting to feel set in stone. No good was that 3. This place would have erupted if that 3 would have eclipsed the 100-point mark. And oh, looks like it'll be an easy one. Maurice Gordon with the windmill. So how about that? It was a Jacoby Owens dunk that cemented the victory against Florida Southwestern, and there a windmill dunk from Maurice Gordon that likely cements victory number 2. The Waylon Napper air ball to follow it up certainly doesn't help, and now the standing ovation has already begun with still 1:50 remaining there. Devontae Cook went into the stands.
23rd win of the season for the Commodores.
Almost had Cam Holden come over our direction. He just banged into the desk, but buddies over there on the opposite side, PA announcer Jeff McDonald almost got Devontae Cook right in his lap. Trayvon Mayo taking a seat. That is who's getting the standing ovation now. And you see in that tunnel, the Eastern Florida Titans are ready to play. This game has been a long one. Plenty of stoppages, plenty of...
I think the overtime game was shorter than this one.
Believe so, believe so.
Williams, by the way, fouled out. That was his 5th foul. 9 points for him today.
103-75 the score. Napper is fouled as he goes to the basket.
Well, next up, we'll have another nationally ranked team, number 10 team in the country, Tallahassee, taking on Eastern Florida State.
If you want to watch that or any of the other tournament action, just visit emeraldcoasttv.com. The YouTube page is Emerald Coast TV, as well as the Facebook page. You can get us on Roku, as well as the Amazon Fire TV app. And not only live, you can go back, check out the archive games on the YouTube channel. You can see Gulf Coast's victory over the #1 team in the nation, or if you're a Commodore supporter, you may just want to run this one back and give it another viewing. This has been one that, while it's been a frustrating one for the Patriots, the Commodores have just been loose and they have played completely free this afternoon.
Yeah, built a 17-point lead at the half and just kind of put it on cruise control. There were a couple of early turnovers by the Patriots to start the second half. You know, I noted the importance of getting off to a good start. The first 4 minutes of each, last 4 minutes of a half, and then Dieng then leaving the game.
And there were certainly moments where the Patriots' window flung open, but every time there's Ortiz from the corner.
He's got 8.
Yeah, every time it feels like that the Patriots had a surge of momentum, the Commodores just answered and nullified it, and that has been the signature mark. It was that windmill dunk that'll be the defining stamp on the end of this one. Much like that Owens dunk against the Buccaneers on Wednesday. 10 on the shot clock. We're just over a minute. Holden kicks to Owens in the corner. Owens wanted to put a stamp on this one with a corner three. Not able to get it to go. There's Latrell Jones. Certainly still the effort admirable from the Patriots. And there's a chance that they get an at-large bid. We've discussed that. So season not over. And these Patriots, the goal is just hope that you can get in and then take advantage of that second chance.
Yeah, 25 wins, a national ranking. Let's just hope for the sake of the College of Central Florida, which won't be playing basketball after this season, as they shut down their basketball and volleyball programs, that they still get one more opportunity, because this is not the way you'd like to go out.
Mass substitutions for the Commodores. Starters taking a seat now in the game. Yeah, Nolan Coswell, number 25, number 22, Kalen Marzette, along with Pierre Louis and Dion Butler. Butler went out with injury earlier. Appears like he's okay. So we've had several minor bumps and bruises take place throughout this tournament, but no major injuries have occurred, and that is certainly a trend that we hope continues. Coming up after this one, we'll have a 20-minute intermission as Tallahassee and Eastern Florida come out to warm up and go through their pregame routine before it's the Eagles and the Titans. It should be a tremendous matchup.
Good sportsmanship. Pierre Louis fouls out, goes down and shakes the hands of Central Florida coach Tim Ryan.
Absolutely. You know, after a chippy start and even into the second half, some back and forth, it's been a final 10 minutes where both teams have settled in. We saw the nice gestures from Beamer as well as Pierre Louis now. So an impressive Commodore victory. The stamp being put on it is now likely they'll dribble out. It's a 0.8 maybe difference in the shot clock and game clock. It's as close as can be. So if you throw one up as it expires, that would essentially end it. Mayo inside to Howard, back out to Marzette, and the Commodores with a second straight impressive showing. Shot clock expired. We gotta stay on the floor.
About a fraction of a second left. All you have to do is just throw it in here and the game will be over.
One last technicality in this one. 0.1 second. It looks like I even overestimated the difference between shot clock and game clock.
A tenth of a second.
What did I say?
You were close.
What did I say?
Actually, no. Actually, a full second.
1.1.
1.1.
0.1? Oh, okay. There we go. Timing technicalities and mistakes aside, it's a big victory for the Commodores here. 105-84. A lopsided victory and an impressive showing for Philip Gaffney's squad in his absence. We'll get set for this second game coming up. We've got a game involving a couple of Florida commits, a Georgia commit, so a ton of talent on the floor and what should be a tremendous, tremendous basketball game as we wrap up this one from Raider Arena. Game one of this one, I'm Jake Mitchell. He's Mike Rideout. And Mike, final impressions from just a dominant opening contest.
Kind of a start to finish. You know, the technical fouls got him on a little bit of a roll. Grant Howard hit the 2 technical free throws. They got the ball back. He hits a 3. What was a 7-7 game ends up being a 15-7 lead. And 5 players score in double figures today, led by Cameron Holden, who leads the team in scoring 24 points. So here they are, Gulf Coast into the final. They've knocked off 2 nationally ranked teams. Well-deserved. Congratulations to acting coach Scott Jackson. He's got the Commodores 1 win away from playing in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Again, a 105-84 difference. One of the teams in front of us will meet the Commodores in the semifinal tomorrow evening. So we'll be back shortly for this matchup of Tallahassee and Eastern Florida. For Mike Rideout and RJ Murdoch, I'm Jake Mitchell. We'll join you shortly for game 2.